There is one thing I like about it. I'll just tell you in 1 second, though. First of all, Tom and Quincy, you looking forward to the Red Sox in London?
No, I'm aggravated to hell by the whole thing, to be honest with you. Because I remember when they released the schedule and that they were going over there, like, this is the stupidest thing ever, right? So the thing that kind of pisses me off, it's like, this should have been like an exhibition game in March.
Totally.
Not.
What's happening, folks? Tom, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Doing all right. How you doing?
We're doing good, man. Long time no talk. Nice to see you back behind the camera there.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you too, man.
Yeah, it's been way too long. I know we got some baseball talk. I know you're anxious to get a little bit off your chest about the movement to San Diego.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get past it. The frustration, the overall frustration has passed. The bitterness towards the organization today has not.
Right. All right. And we do have one more guest to bring in, and that is, of course, back on the sticks, getting over COVID and ready to go.
Like a new man.
That's right. Adam, Tom, glad to be back. Tom, been a while since you and I have pissed around with baseball. It's going to be fun. And yes, Adam, you are correct. I was at a COVID-induced hiatus for the last week or so, so I'm glad to be back. Looking forward to talk free agency. And all I got to say is LA Dodgers, crickets, crickets, crickets. Maybe it's supposed to be that way, though.
Jay, I saw a meme that had Mookie Wilson in the back, and he was like, leave while you can. I thought I sent it to you, but then I was looking over the text, and I was like, oh, I didn't send it to him. Shit.
Nah, that's all right. I can visualize it, so you don't have to send it to me.
But that's what happens when you talk on late night talk shows and jinx the whole team.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That was Mookie Wilson. He has your whole little tri-state there. An apology. So, Jay, what did you think of the Giants getting Kevin Correa?
Well, let me tell you, I found out about this at like 6:35 this morning when I woke up my time, and I practically shit in my bed. I was like, what are you – what? What's a hell of a wake-up call? First of all, I'm not surprised that the Giants actually got him. The reason why is because, A, the Giants are desperate for star power, and they don't have that right now, or at least they didn't up until they signed Correa. And B, there was always this long-held belief that the Giants were a small market team, or at least in the public perception, they were perceived as a small market team, which is completely false and erroneous. The Giants over the last 5 or 6 years have one of the top 10 payrolls in all of Major League Baseball. They just have never spent big up until now because their general manager, Farhan Zaidi, comes from the Andrew Friedman disciple of Andrew Friedman's school of shopping for the Tom, Dick, and Harrys of the world and plugging holes here and there with guys who look better on stat sheets than guys who look better on the field. And again, not surprised the Giants got him because they need star power. They obviously have the money to go out and spend big. They needed to make a statement to their fan base saying, hey, look, we're committed to getting back on the winning track. They bring in a guy who very talented in Correa. We all know his credentials, both good and bad, when he was with the Trastros. But at the same time, this contract is very similar to the one that the Phillies dished out to Bryce Harper a few years ago. Has a full no-trade clause. There's also no backouts in the deal either. So it's basically 13 years of Carlos Correa that the Giants are going to have, for better or worse. He's going to give them a flashy player, a star player, still capable of hitting 25 to 35 home runs a season, still plays solid defense. I know Correa's kind of had some injury problems in the last couple of seasons, especially with his back, so it'll be interesting to see how well he holds up. But surprised that the move went down at the timing of it, just not surprised that the Giants got him because, again, they needed star power, especially since they've been outbid the last couple of seasons for some of the bigger name free agents that came off the board and went with other teams.
Now, I was talking to Tom before I brought you in. What do you feel about the Bogarts going to San Diego move?
Terrible contract for San Diego. They're giving him an 11-year contract in his age 30 year, whose defensive metrics have declined. And Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the Sox fan here, but his defensive metrics have declined each of the last 3 to 4 seasons. Can still hit the ball fairly well, but you're giving him an 11-year contract and an age 30 guy who probably will not finish his career as a shortstop. Not digging it from the Padres standpoint. From Bogart's standpoint, I actually thought he could have gotten more from somebody else. I was kind of surprised the Padres didn't give him more, and subsequently he didn't accept more. But San Diego, again, look, Peter Seidler, the chairman, and Ron Fowler, the co-chairman, apparently these guys don't care how old these players are or how productive they are. If they have stars written in front of their name, they're going to dish out the money to them, and they don't care how it's spent or how the production is laid out.
Tom?
I think that, I love the player when he was here. All right. And I have made many comments and had many conversations leading up in the past 2 years that he was going to go if they weren't going to cough him something. Right. I feel this started almost 2 years ago with Bogarts when they simply lowballed him so badly, insultingly, and the sad thing is it's starting to become a trend around here with the homegrown talent, where it started with John Lester. They came at Lester with 4 for 70 and he was like, really, dude? So he said, go fuck off. And he left. So the Bogart situation, they came at him, and the first one I think they said was they'll add a year to the existing 3 that he had the opt-out on. So 1 for 30 was basically this one that would have kept him here for 4 seasons at, 120 or something like that. That's laughable. And then supposedly this whole, they are in on him the whole time was a crock of shit, because they were never, since they signed Story, they were never committed to keeping Bogarts around. I don't care what so-called insider, beat guy, you name it, very, well-respected reporters up here, they were all wrong or simply full of shit, one or the other. And it's been, unfortunately for the rest of the league, it's been commonplace of the reporting on every guy to every team this year. I've never seen anything like it, to be honest, but as far as people in Boston, up and around this area anyway, there's guys that have the same mindset as myself, which I feel is the logical one, of course. And then you have the nerd aspect of it. I think that people were pissing on Bogarts when Story got signed, and they were in a big hurry to get him the fuck out of here, which I didn't see. And again, I don't follow the advanced metrics because they change every other fucking day anyway. So when you start to try to figure out what they're talking about, they go on to some other nerd stat, and then the ones they were talking about a week ago don't matter anyway. So me as a Sox fan, I hate that he's gone. I hate that what he brings to the team is solid as solid can be. He'd never miss his time. And I remember when the Correa stuff got floated about him coming here, and I'm like, well, if it's going to cost you 30 for Bogarts, and he's missed since I think I said this last year. I think it was when Correa went full time in 2015, in the same time frame, the same amount of games. I think it was Bogarts had missed 76 games altogether in the 4 or 5 years or whatever it was at the time. Correa had missed 300. So again, the logical one would say, if you're going to shell out 30 mil, I don't think anyone should be making $30 million. However, the market dictates what the market dictates. So, yep, they make $30 million. I'd want a guy that's there every day and not a guy that's going to miss at least a third of the season. That's just me. So when San Diego ponies up $280 million, which was never going to happen here, not in a fucking long shot was that coming here. But the 11 years, I think, was what that caught everyone off guard, because from the people that I talked to and had discussions with, they thought it was a reach to go 7, maybe 8, 11. But then you see, because the Trey Turner was 11, he's the same age as Bogaerts. Correa, 13, he's what, 3 years younger than Bogaerts? So the years are pretty much the annual salaries around $27 million for each one. It's the years. These guys are giving up 13 years with no opt-outs, no trade protect, all that. It's like, here's your 280 mil, because Bogaerts is a no trade, full no trade. So if you think he's diminishing skill-wise defensively now at 30, you're going to pay him at 38 with no way to get rid of him. None. I mean, unless you can just outright release. Like, I remember when the Sox tried that with Manny, and no one bit. So I don't think anyone's going to bite on a 36 or 37-year-old Bogaerts making 27 to 28 million if you consider his skills will be that far degraded in 7 or 8 years. I don't personally think that he was a liability for me watching, but again, what do I know? I simply watch. I don't study the nerd stats. So then they will tell you that he was horrendous. However, this season was his best one in 6 years. And maybe it's because he knew he was going to cash in hard. So I will simply say, as a Sox fan, and a lot of people I talk to, they don't like he's gone. And then there is a group of people that I interact with on Twitter often that are happy that he left, and they're ready to hand it over to Story, or living in the clouds thinking that Swanson or any of these other guys that are going to command big money are going to come here. I keep trying to tell people. I've been telling people all off season, nobody's coming here. They're not paying anybody. All right? They're not doing it. They can say they are. Bloom's a fucking liar. They are not. Management doesn't want to pay it. Ownership don't want to pay it. They're going to piecemeal this thing together, and they're going to finish in 5th again, because this is no way to put a winning team together up here. It's not sustainable. You cannot do it. And Bogaerts is the first big domino to fall. Devers is next.
What did you think of Trey Turner going to Philly?
Not surprised, Adam. Not surprised. First of all, if the LA Dodgers really wanted to sign Trey Turner to a long-term deal, they would have done it a long time ago. And it's funny because I have a number of Dodger fans that I interact with on Twitter, and they're all acting right now as if Andrew Friedman should be staked to a wall and flogged with stones out in the middle of the town square. They're all acting as if Magic Johnson and Mark Walter and Stan Kasten should be de facto executives of the year. No. If they wanted Trey long-term, they would have signed him long-term a long time ago. They didn't. The Dodgers were very transparent when they got Trey Turner. They got him as a short-term gap, as a short-term solution for their problem at shortstop. And if they really wanted to sign him long-term, they would have done it a long time ago. Plus, Trey made no qualms about the fact that he still wanted to be back on the East Coast, whether that was training down in Florida during the spring or playing with another club on the East, be it the Phils, the Red Sox, the Mets, whoever. So Trey went to them very early on and said, look, I'll play here for the amount of time you guys want me here, but I prefer to go back home. His wife is from Florida. He's from Florida. His wife is from New Jersey. So they're East Coast people. It made all the sense in the world. Am I sad to see Trey Turner go as a Dodger fan? Yes, I am, because he was great in the short little time that he was down in Los Angeles. But am I surprised that he's gone? No. I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss his production on the field. But you know what? such is the way in today's day and age of baseball. One star player goes, another one comes in. Star players are a dime a dozen.
Unless you're in Boston, star players go and then no one comes in.
Unless you're in Boston, other players don't come in. That's right, Tom.
Well,
Tom, I got to ask you something about that too. This seems really weird to me that the Sox have kind of taken up this new methodical penny pinching approach, because it seemed like back in the early thousands, John Henry was opening up that checkbook for anybody and everybody. What caused the philosophy shift all of a sudden there?
I think a lot of stuff has happened since they took over the team. There was the Yankees were the evil empire back then. Sox have never won. And they decided to go head to head, similar to what you are going through in LA now. San Diego and San Fran are trying to keep up with what the Dodgers are doing. Because they haven't, the Padres haven't broken through yet. So that's why they're sitting on, Tatis and Machado and Soto and Bogarts with all this money. They're trying to break through to win. The Sox won, and they won 4. And I think that now 22 years or whatever it is that Henry's owned that team, his money has grown substantially and his portfolio has got bigger by the day. The Fenway Sports Group is an international, powerhouse, especially in sports, So I think that as opposed to the Sox being his passion to get them get them on the winning track and break them through, which he did. And he would open it up. And nowadays it seems like the Sox are more of a page in the portfolio as opposed to any kind of passion to have them win. You would think that on the fan base alone up here, you keep a winning product and people turn out like you'll never see. I mean, suckers like myself are going to turn out no matter what. But that's
You're
not
a
the
diehard
case.
fan, Tom. You're a different breed.
But that's not the case.
Breed. You're a diehard fan.
After 2004 is when the very casual people, it was the in thing to be a Sox fan. Affleck and those people were showing up at Fenway. Pre that, there wasn't any big stars showing up to watch the Sox at Fenway. I think that they've had such an up and down decade, with 13 and 18, kind of unlikely championships, if you asked around here. I think that people like myself and, friends of mine, fans like us, we're sick and tired of this Jekyll and Hyde. Like every season's a different outlook and a different plan. It's like, all right, well, let's go mid-level with people instead of going high market. And then they won in 13 with Dempster and Gomes and Victorino and Napoli and these guys. And then, they have the Bobby Valentine year. And then it's last place, first place, last place, first place, World Series, last place. And it's like, I think that Henry is more focused on what he had going on when he bought the Liverpool soccer team. That was where the focus went. And the Sox took a back seat in a way from what a lot of people that I talk to say. And I think that goes along with bringing in guys like Bloom, who are from the Tampa Bay situation and more focused on what the analytical view of these players are, as opposed to, what they can actually do on the field. And I think that he has proven that he is that way. And then when they F up and they miss a guy or get outbid by a guy, they try to rectify it by going out of the way to make sure that they don't do that again. And then they overspend for someone that doesn't end up working out, be it Sandoval or Crawford or, even David Price, except we won with David Price. But overall, that whole signing was because they fucked up Lester. You know, so every time back then when you missed out, they'd be like, oh, well, now we got to fix it. And they overpay to get the top guy. Well, they give 4 prospects away to get the top guy like they did with Sale or whatever it was. And it doesn't seem like the past few years, because Henry's kind of absent up here. He used to be more visible. So I feel that that's how they got back into this penny pinching mode, like you say, Jason. And the funny thing, even if they're in a penny pinching mode, the past couple of years, they were still spending, but they spend it in horrifically stupid ways. I think they had a
top. Here's the top half of spending. I don't know if you guys can see that or not on your end. This was all printed the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I'm blocking Jay's face, but unfortunately it pops up in the middle. Jay, can you still see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Oh, look, the Dodgers are there at 7. Wow, go figure.
But I mean,
here was one that caught my eye. Look at the very last team and how much it says they spend.
I can't see.
Yeah, that's a different story for a different podcast right there. We'll talk about Oakland a little bit later.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Oh, Oakland with Chad Pinda is their highest paid guy, dude.
I mean, look at the Pirates and what are they at? 16. We just saw Correa get signed for 35 a year. That's more than the Pirates. Just like Marcus Semien and who was the other guy? Marcus Semien and Corey Seager.
Corey Seager, yeah.
They make more than half of that team, right? Half of that page right there combined.
And they signed DeGrom.
They did sign DeGrom.
Yep.
So
Texas has money.
Jason, real quick, just about back to what you said about the penny pinching thing. When it seemed like they were being cheap, they weren't necessarily being cheap. They were being dumb. Now they're being cheap. Now they're legit being cheap. I think they had like $100 million. They signed Jansen and this Japanese kid that I have no fucking idea who he is. I plead ignorance, and I'm not about to act like I know who he is. I never heard his name before until they signed him. And now the people
that come out, made a big deal about that, huh?
But the people that come out and go, "Oh my God, we got whatever his name is," I won't butcher it. No one knows who the fuck he is. No one. Select minimal people knew who this kid is. If you follow the Japanese baseball league, then sure. I don't. And I remember we've had a few come here. Not that great. I remember the Dice came out Susaka situation and tracking him like it was Santa on the NORAD app, for the kids find out when he's coming. They had him on the plane. They had the funky song about the gyro ball and all this bullshit, dressed up, nested garbage. And this kid supposedly has a ghost fork pitch that they were looking at, that Senga kid. It's like, you want to sign these guys because they got some stupid fucking nickname. I don't know who the kid is they signed. Supposedly he's an on-base machine, which is great. I like that because there's no one that does it anymore. That's in Japan. People like, well, you never know. He could be Ichiro. It's like, is this what we're going to do now?
Nah.
So every Japanese position player that a team ponies up for, you're going to compare him to Ichiro. I mean, you're kind of giving the guy a pretty high hill to climb, labeling him the next Ichiro. I mean, come on, man. So
are you guys, Tom, real quick. I just I saw this earlier today. Are the Sox in on what's his name? The Dansby Swansby come?
Oh yeah, they're in on everyone, Adam. In on everyone. They're in on everyone. No, they're not. They're not in on anybody. They haven't been in on anybody. And if they say they are, they lie. They just lowball the shit out of the offer because they know that the other person ain't going to fucking take it. But they can say, well, we tried. We were in on them. No, you weren't. No. You just need your name out there. You're not in on anybody. If you were in on people, you'd be signing them. You have all the fucking money in the world. You're not doing shit.
Jay, are you guys in on Dansby?
Well, of course, the Dodgers are in on Dansby. There's the Freddie Freeman connection. Obviously, he and Freeman were pals from their days back in Atlanta, but don't know how heavily Freeman has played a part in the recruitment of Swanson. My personal belief is Dansby doesn't go to LA. I think he's either going to end up with the Cubs or the Twins. If the Dodgers, kind of like with Trey Turner, Adam, if the Dodgers really wanted Dansby Swanson, they would have signed him by now. My feeling is that they're going to be content with Gavin Lux and moving him over at shortstop, or at least having him plug the gap until they can address the position midseason, either through a trade or another thing too. Now that these big free agents have come off the board and are starting to come off the board, the trade market now is going to start to materialize a lot more. And so I wouldn't necessarily put the Dodgers out of the frame of getting a big trade together for another shortstop, but I just, as much as I want to say Dansby will end up a Dodger blue, I say it's 50-50 at this point.
Well, I was going to start with catchers, but I'm hoping we get a Logan sighting so we can hear his excitement on that big signing in St. Louis.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we'll start with first baseman. We'll go back there. Abreu, what do you guys think? The 3-year deal to Houston? Too old, over the hill.
I would have
Great
loved
move.
it. Yeah.
Oh, personally, I thought that was the best free agent signing thus far in terms of value, in terms of production. And yeah, Adam, you just mentioned Abreu's 36, but he's still producing when healthy. That's going to be the key there, when healthy. But look, the Astros got a very favorable signing out of him at that 3-year deal. What was it, 36 million or 46 million or something? So
it was like 19. It was roughly 19 a year, I think.
Yeah.
Sign a
Something like
3-year
that.
deal with Houston. It doesn't say.
3 years. So, but at any rate, Abreu is a guy that can still produce, and playing in that Houston lineup is going to give him a lot more protection, and it's going to give him a lot more opportunity to swing the bat. He'll learn a different style of hitting down there in Houston as well. So I thought that was a great signing by the Astros, and I think one of the top 3 so far of the free agent offseason.
Yeah, he would have been a nice fit up here. And again, supposedly they were in on him too. But they got outbid by 50%. So
Yeah.
they came in at half of what Houston gave him. So that's when I know, like, you weren't serious. He would have been a good fit. First base power. You got Casas here. Right now you have Hosmer and Casas. Casas is young and who knows? And Hosmer is older and he gets hurt. I think Abreu would have been a better fit, would have been a perfect fit from a lot of people's in a lot of people's eyes. But yeah, that would have been nice up here. They've been after Abreu for like 7 years, and he never got it done.
Abreu was getting serious MVP consideration in Chicago last season. That's how productive he still was at age 35, 36. So he can still swing the bat and can still be productive.
Yeah, I mean, his age, you gotta, and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody, but you have to factor in the 2-year cushion when the guys come from Cuba.
Right.
It's usually not their true age. That's a fact. That ain't.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yasiel Puig.
Right? Puig,
Yep.
I think they say Nelson Cruz is 41. I know he's not Cuban, but I mean, they say he's 41. He might not be 41, is all I'm saying. You got to factor in maybe when you get into the older free agents and they're like, well, he's 35. Well, is he? You might want to kick it up a tick on that. That's all. Right. But he still produces. I don't care how old you are. Can you play? Was
anyone surprised Rizzo stayed in New York?
Not really.
No, the market was never really hot for him. There were maybe 2 or 3 teams that expressed serious interest in signing him, but yeah, I'm not surprised he stayed.
Yeah, he was another one that I thought would have been here last year, but no.
And then Josh Bell going to Cleveland. I thought it was a good signing by Cleveland. Now they're going to have Ramirez and Bell on the infield and pretty good bats. I think it's going to be good lineup going on in Cleveland this summer.
He can't hurt. Playoff lineup already, I think any first baseman with any kind of power would have been a good fit here. The Josh Bell was thrown around, but again, we've come to realize that they weren't gonna go do that. I think they're gonna settle with Cassis and Hosmer, I guess. Gamble with Hosmer as far as a veteran backup or something. They're not paying him. San Diego is, so I think they're gonna stay with him. Why would Bloom unload a guy that he's not paying?
And then you can't leave out that big Carlos Santana signing by the Pirates.
Hey, again, first base power. I'd take it. They wouldn't even go get him.
What was it, November 28th or something?
Yep.
Tom, but the big signing comes with Franchy Cordero. I mean, you were excited to see him go, weren't you?
Oh yeah, I was crushed. Still am. I'm still getting over it. That guy.
Tom does not like Franchy Cordero. Jason, if you go watch some of his I don't know if he shares them on YouTube or Twitter or not, but I know they're on Facebook. But if you go back and listen to his calls into Maz and Fold, you'll hear all kind of good comments about Franchy Cordero.
That guy can't play.
I will YouTube that shit tonight. I will YouTube that shit. I will YouTube that shit tonight before I go to bed just to experience it, Tom. All right.
I know it's on Tom's Facebook page. Facebook page. I do know that.
I had put in many calls on Franchy Cordero. All right, and I had to be sold by countless nerds that told me that he just has bad luck. He hits it hard every time, just at people. And I'm like, okay. I don't know if I mean, Jason, you probably remember. You remember Willie Mopena, right?
Oh, absolutely. Who can forget Willie Mopena, baby?
Okay.
Wiley Mo?
Yeah. So, and they traded Bronson Arroyo for Willie Mopena, which I never understood, right?
Yep.
And Willie Mopena was this massive, massive human being.
Yep.
And I feel that he was very similar to like Pedro Serrano in Major League. You know?
Right. Hit the curveball.
Throw it 100 miles an hour. He will launch that thing 500 feet.
Yep.
If it's straight. If there's any movement on it at all, he will miss by 2 feet. So Willie Mopena was very well known up here for that. Franchy Cordero makes Willie Mopena look like fucking Barry Bonds.
Oh.
All right. So, and I want to say at one point last year, Franchy had like one of the top 3 longest home runs, and it was with Giancarlo Stanton and some other behemoth, right-handed hitter that can. It could have been Soto, maybe 520 feet or 496 feet or whatever. So yes, can he launch one?
About Kyle Schwarber's launch in the playoffs.
Sure. I mean, these guys, they can hit. This kid, he's not even a kid anymore. That's the thing. It's like, well, he's learning the game. He's fucking 28. He's 28. He's not 18. All right. And he was supposedly the gem in that trade for when Benintendi left. So I'm like, this guy can't hit. So once that he actually was part of the first base, him and Dahlbeck were the first base duo, which one of them as a backup is one thing. Chucking them two out there for a season, they can't field, they can't hit on a team with the kind of money and the resources that the Red Sox have. Franchy Cordero actually was signed as a free agent. And I cannot for the life of me find out or figure out why. So I think he's Baltimore's problem now. Which I can honestly say that I'm happy. I've never really been happy when people leave because I feel like at some point you've left an impression. You had a moment. You know, you've done some game-winning something. I can't remember a positive thing that Franchi Cordero did while he was here.
So it sounds to me like you're doing fucking cartwheels right now, Tom.
I was pretty fucking happy to find out he was gone. However, I was also happy to find out when Jackie Bradley Jr. left, and then they brought him back on the trade for Renfro, and I wanted to jump off my fucking roof. So
you see, Tom, I'm feeling the exact same way about one Joey Gallo, baby.
oh boy. I'm telling it's these guys. I don't like that model of a ball player at all. Like, you can't hit. You strike out 200 times. You bat 190. You hit 12 home runs, maybe. I can't have it. And you should have heard them up here talking about Franchi. I'm like, you can't be watching the same game as me. There's no way. Like, am I in like an alternate universe watching the Franchi Cordero experiment? Because this thing is a fucking joke. Like, how is this guy in the league? Never mind on a team with the resources that the Red Sox have. But now I know why.
Jay, are you looking up the comments of Tom on calling in the show?
You know,
maybe
there are Jason. I'm telling you, there are plenty of calls on that my Facebook stuff about Franchi, man. It's
So I have a question,
I probably
guys.
put too much time into thinking about it, to be honest, but it is what it is.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So we're going over free agencies, and not one second baseman has been signed anywhere. Has anyone noticed that?
I don't think anyone values that position as much anymore.
Yeah.
Gene Segura, Adam Frazier, Josh Harrison, Cesar Hernandez, Roned Odor, Jonathan Villar, Yu Chang, Jose Peraza, Alberto, Chris Owings, and Donovan Walton.
I feel like a lot of teams are willing to just platoon that position. You know, I mean, like,
the Sox shift gone this year, that position's going to come back to play, don't you guys think?
Well, the Sox are going to platoon it. They're going to use Arroyo and someone else. You know,
aren't they getting rid of the shift? The shift's gone this year, right? Or does that kick in next year?
Yeah.
No, shift is gone next season.
Next season.
So second base is going to become relevant again.
Yeah.
You're going to need your Pokey Reeses and your Freddie Sanchez is back. Good fielders.
Adam, the Dodgers are facing something similar, because if they end up sticking with Gavin Lux at shortstop, they're going to have to find somebody full time to replace him at second base. They could platoon Chris Taylor.
Swanson can play second too, right?
He can. Shortstop is a better position for him metrically, but yeah, he can play second base. But look, out of all those names you mentioned, none of them are Franchi Cordero. That's why nobody has signed him yet, because none of them are Franchi Cordero.
I'm guessing that the only position that Franchi Cordero should be in for Baltimore is DH. But if they want to put him at first, it is something to behold. That's all I'm saying.
Adam does bring up a good point, though, because it seems like second base used to be one of the more coveted positions in the offseason that you had to have, both defensively and offensively. And we haven't seen that in a while. And with the shift going away in 2023, you're going to need some solid gloves there at second base to man that position. So that's a very good point, Adam. And some of those guys that you mentioned, like Josh Harrison, yeah, they're not all-stars anymore, but they're still serviceable. Right. So I would imagine at some point they'll start falling off the board here before, like, maybe as we get closer to the start of spring training, we'll probably see a lot of those guys come off the board.
Yeah, you're not going to see any Ryan Sandberg, Roberto Alomar situation.
For sure Hanser Alberto would have been signed by now. He was decent in Baltimore.
He was decent in Baltimore. He was abysmal in Los Angeles. That's all I'm going to say about that.
And that's all you can go by.
He's no Franchi Cordero. That's right.
Yep.
So, Jay, do you think Justin Turner's going to go anywhere?
Oh my God,
he's been mentioned up here too.
So
I thought for sure Paris would have signed him by now. I mean, that was my honest thought. I mean, he's old and, on his way down, so he needs a reboost. And why not? We got Carlos Santana. Why not sign Justin Turner?
Yeah, Adam, I don't think, look, the Dodgers aren't going to outbid themselves for Justin Turner. They know what he is at this stage of his career. And look, he's been one of the great Dodgers in team history. And no one
You
will
guys
say
brought him up.
otherwise.
You guys found him at Cal State, right?
Well, he played at Cal State Fullerton. He was actually drafted by the Orioles, and we got him from the Mets back when Ned Colletti was our general manager. The Mets actually designated Turner for assignment, and Colletti just got him basically as a last-minute call. Turner's agent actually called the Dodgers and said, look, my guy's not getting feelers from anybody out here. At least give him a tryout and see what he does. And so they brought him in, and they signed him to a non-tendered free agent contract, and he ended up making the team, and the rest is history. But, look, Turner's battled injuries the last 2 or 3 seasons.
That's why he's perfect for the Pirates.
Yeah, exactly. he can still produce. He can still swing a solid bat. Defensively, he is what he is. But, again, the Dodgers aren't going to outbid themselves for him. My feeling is I think he goes somewhere else. I know the Marlins offered him a contract. I don't know how much it was for how many years. I don't even know if he would want to go down to Miami. But as much as I would like to see him come back, because I'm a huge Justin Turner fan, it is time for him and the organization to move on. I think he will be playing elsewhere next season.
I know Mr. Pratt, big Marlins fan over in the UK, was highly upset whenever he saw Correa went to the Giants this morning.
Yeah,
he's like, the Marlins have so much money to spend. Why wouldn't they sign Correa? Which I thought he would have. I thought he would have been good down there with Jazz.
That, you know what, him and Jazz Chisholm would have been a great fan draw to get into that cavernous, hideous ballpark they call a baseball stadium.
I like the ballpark. It's a nice park. It's one of the few I've seen. So
yeah, I hate it.
Doesn't it have like a Ferris wheel or some shit out in the middle of the center field, something like that?
No, it has like that hideous.
They took that away. They also took the fish tank away too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Isn't it like some kind of like a spinning wheel?
There used to be like a little like thing out in center field. I have no idea what it was.
Yeah, that's
when I was there. We sat in the right field. We sat in the right field bleachers. Well, not even bleachers, but whatever they called it. And we sat right behind the Pirates bullpen. So that was cool. I tend to only go when the Pirates are playing or the Indians are playing if I'm close.
Right.
Those are my 2 teams. So, I mean, I will go watch baseball. I mean, I've gone to National Park and watched actually, I got a good game when I went and saw the Nationals play. Got to see Max Scherzer pitch, and Bryce Harper was still in Washington. They were playing the Mets. It was DeGrom versus Scherzer. It was a great game. Didn't even plan on seeing those 2 pitch. I just wanted to go see the stadium. So that was cool. Anyway, off of the stadium tours. So Candelario got a 1-year deal with Washington. Did they need a third baseman, or did they need everything?
I think they're just filling the roster out, aren't they?
Yeah, they need everything.
They're just kind of like, I could probably use a guy here. And they go and get a.
Well, Oakland did sign Jace Peterson. Big steps.
Well, they also got, in addition to Jace Peterson, they also got Aledmus Diaz, who was in Houston last season.
Yeah, is he going to be their DH or first baseman?
I'm thinking he's going to be their DH. He's a crappy first baseman defensively.
Oh yeah,
so
if he was any good, he would have stayed on the.
Yeah,
he's probably better than Franchi.
That's right. He's no Frenchy Cordero. That's right. Sorry, Tom. Every time I see you from now on.
Hey,
just real quick for the record, I didn't bring up Franchi Cordero. Adam did.
I did.
All right.
I did. I got you started because I knew you were going to be excited about that. It's been a while since we've been behind the mic and we're able to talk about this stuff. Yeah. So
I feel like you're needling me.
Adam, going back to Washington real quick, you mentioned Jeimer Candelario. Carter Kieboom, I think, was going to be their third baseman, but he's going to miss most, if not all, of next season with a knee injury. I think he tore an ACL or something. So I think Heimer is just a fill-in until Carter Kieboom gets healthy.
Well, like I said, I did this the other day, Jay, because we were gonna do the free agency the
Yeah.
other night, but we all drew confusion. I don't know if any more left fielders got signed, but here was the two that got signed. Jock Peterson stayed in San Francisco, and
Yep.
Diaz went to Oakland, like we just talked about. Were there any other? Tommy Pham, is he going to be a fill-in anywhere?
Oh, he'll land somewhere.
I thought the Sox should bring him back, to be honest. He played pretty well after they got him here. But again, I don't know what the offer was to keep him, and they're not going to do it. So, but he played pretty good. I was surprised because I think the guy's kind of a meathead, but
He is. He's a bonehead.
He's kind of a jackass, but he
Yeah.
played pretty well, and his attitude worked pretty well up here, from what I saw anyway. So who
AJ
wants
Pollock
that?
coming back to you guys, Tom, or what's going on with him? I mean,
Who?
Jay
What's up?
Pollock coming back or what?
Oh, Pollock?
Oh, Pollock. Yeah.
God, I don't know. That's a good question. I suppose he could, especially now that the DH is in the National League. I mean, Pollock, when he's out there and he's healthy, he produces. That's the key thing, though, is keeping him healthy. I'd love to see Pollock come back because he was a great Dodger when he was here. He's a fan favorite, but I don't know, man. That's a tough one to call.
I mean, do you guys need help in the outfield? I have no idea what's going on in the Dodger line.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I know Ian's lost a pretty good outfielder. It was the only jersey I really wanted from the World Series year in 20, and that was Bellinger. I did want that. I still might get that jersey just because I want a Dodgers jersey, and I might as well be the World Series jersey.
Yeah, yeah, right. We do need some help in the outfield, especially in left field. I know that kind of the mantra going around right now in LA is let the kids play, because we have 3 highly touted prospects that we want to see out there on the field, actually 4. And 2 of them are position players. One of them is Michael Bush, an outfielder who raked at AAA last season. This guy was just going nuts at Oklahoma City. And then they also have, of course, Miguel Vargas. We saw him in the postseason a little bit this past season. And then they have
he
that
was
young
a cheap play. He was at
yeah,
play
yeah, right. So,
in the
but
DraftKings.
I personally, thanks. I personally don't think they're going to open the season with a rookie in left field. They're going to get somebody eventually, but yeah, they need help out there. So that could necessitate them bringing Pollock back.
Maybe a Chad Pinder or a Ben Gamel.
You know what? I would love to see Chad Pinder more than Ben Gamel. I think Pinder's bat probably a little bit more consistent than Gamel. Defensively, defensively, Gamel's probably better than Pinder. But I'd love to see Chad Pinder there, man. That'd be a solid under-the-radar pickup for the Dodgers.
Or what about Profar coming up from San Diego, right?
No Profar.
Wasn't he on San Diego last year?
He was. Yeah, he was. But Profar,
he's a free agent right now.
Yeah, he's a free agent, but I'm sorry. Yeah, don't like him. I mean, the guy is more miss than hit. That's just my belief.
Tom, do you want any of those guys?
I will take anybody, to be honest with you. I think that they need so much help. I mean, they let
spit that all out.
They let the wall. Well, I mean, dude, Bogart's left, Martinez left. You have no second baseman. You have no right fielder. I mean, what are you rolling out there? If the team currently constructed, the season started now, that's a horrific display. So I don't know.
Would you even go if you got free tickets?
Dude, I'm gonna go anyway. I mean, I just, like I said, I'm a fucking.
You're a
chump.
Sox fan, regardless.
I'm a fucking chump, is what I am. But I mean, I can't stop now, right? I'll be there opening day again, regardless of how fucking awful the starting lineup looks. I'm still gonna be there. I'll be there, pissing and moaning the whole time if need be, but I'll still be there. But no, they need a lot of help, and I think that with every passing day, that nothing gets done and guys are walking. I mean, right now. Catcher, you got Wong and that kid Maguire. Third, you have Devers.
I like McGuire. He's from he's a kid from Toronto, right?
I don't mind him. Yeah, I don't mind him. You know, second base, no one. Story at short, I guess. First base, Cassis and Hosma. Outfield, the Japanese kid. I forget his name. Whatever it is. Verdugo. Arroyo will be in a mix somewhere. They're probably platoon right and second base at this point. I don't know, man. I would take anyone. And I'm not even being a smartass. I'm legit saying bring
they need something.
anyone. Anybody. Bring anybody. Anyone with any kind of fucking major league talent is what I want. They're like, oh, you never know Swanson. Dude, if they sign Swanson, I will be fucking shocked. But I'll also be annoyed because what's happened so far with the guys they brought over, be it Jansen or the Japanese kid, right? There wasn't a peep about signing either of them. All right, which makes me think that wasn't their first choice or second choice.
Jay, what do you have to say about them signing Jansen?
Okay. Well, Tom, I'm going to give you a little bit of advice. Okay, get used to us in ninth inning heartbreaks, my friend.
Well, Jason, it's funny. You know what's funny? Like, I don't mind the signing and the fact that it's a legitimate closer.
Yeah, he is.
Right, and from around here the past few years where people like me, again, considered an old person because I think that there should be a fucking closer or designated roles in the bullpen, stuff like that. I don't know if that's frowned upon up here by the younger, dirty people, but I wanted them to have someone legit. And the fight back to me was that, no, you want to play matchups. You don't have to do that. You go by matchups and you don't need designated roles and this and that. So you try to piecemeal together guys are going to close the game out. But then you blow 28 saves doing that. So having a guy that is legitimate, I mean, he's got like 380 saves or whatever the hell it is. I mean, 36. Yeah. He's 36 years old. But putting a guy in a designated role in a place where he is used to playing, that slots everyone else down one. That solidifies the back end of your bullpen, which I thought was the whole point. So to have him there, I like. Was he the most valuable closer on the market? Probably, because nobody uses him. So I like it. I know that supposedly with the rule changes and the pitch clock situation, I guess he's like the human rain delay out there sometimes. So there's going to be issues with him with the pitch clock.
Well, Tom, you're going to get your answer here in a minute because Jay got the witness Jansen pitching for many years,
right? So he does have his career ERA is like 3.3. Not that anyone looks at ERA anymore, but 3.3 ERA with like 380 saves or whatever Christ it is. I'll take that over Ryan fucking Brazier going out there once in a while trying to do something.
For what he is, Jansen was a solid pickup for the Sox. He's still going to be good for about 21 to 26, 28 saves a season, but he's not going to go out there. Yeah, he's not going to go out there and blow away the opponent with that split fastball that tailed off at 98 the way he did in his heyday with the Dodgers back from 2016 and 2018. It's just not going to happen. But, you're right, Tom. For what he is, it was a good signing for the Sox. And I guess the one saving grace for him is the big green monster. Hopefully that's going to take away a lot of the home runs that he will dish up.
Yeah. I think the other thing too about finally getting a closer, it's again goes against what they've done the past few years. So Jason was talking earlier about the penny pinching aspect and stuff like that. The mindset of the team on what direction they're going to go in changes daily. It's like, all right, so you didn't need a closer the past few years because you're going in the direction of the full analytical bullpen move, matchups only. But now you are going to get a closer when you could have had one 2 years ago. Like, where are you going? Like, get a plan and stick to it, as opposed to like, well, yeah, this is our philosophy this season. Then we're going to do it this time. But, well, that didn't work the way we thought, so we're going to try this now. We're going to dump a ton of money into free agency, and then but no, we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to let our guys go, and then we're going to pull in mid-level guys to fill the rest of the roster. They're not even pulling in mid-level guys to fill the roster. So there's no consistency on the mindset and the philosophy of the team, which as a fan is fucking frustrating because you don't know what direction they're going to go. So when you think that they're going to keep a guy like Bogaerts or not, which I didn't think they were, I wanted them to, but he's gone. So now you have to move Story to the position that he just left, but now you have to fill the position for Story. It's just every fucking year is just moving shit around, and it's like, if you just made a plan and said, this is the direction we're going to go in, we need a first baseman, we need a second baseman, we need a third baseman, we need real full-time Major League Baseball talent on this team. When you don't go into that with that mindset and you just start going, well, I mean, we can get him and he can maybe play some second too. And, now you got like 5 guys interchangeable on different nights. Instead of having a set lineup, no one knows when they're going to bat in the order. No one knows what position they're going to play. They don't know when they're going to pitch in the bullpen. They don't know what inning they're going to get in. It's this constant shit show of no one knowing what the fuck is going on when regular teams, every other fucking team besides maybe the A's, just go, here's our lineup. And you spell a couple guys a couple nights a week, and that's it. So now you have the closer. I'm curious to see how long Bloom decides that he wants to continue Jensen in that role, even though that's all he's ever done, because it seems like they get people that have done this their whole career and then go, well, he's done that. He can probably do this too. And then that blows up in their face. So the philosophy change with going after Jensen is interesting, where he's been dead set against having a legitimate closer since he got it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Jansen last season blew, I want to say 8 or 9 saves with the Braves. Yet, despite that, he was still at the 3rd or 4th highest save ratio percentage of all relievers in baseball, which meant that he went out there and converted more than 93.5% of his saves, which was, again, 3rd or 4th best in baseball. So despite the fact that he blew 8 or 9 saves, he was still successful at the same time. Go figure.
Yeah, I think it's funny because when you have teams like the Red Sox that blew at least 28 of them,
yeah,
so you're putting that 9th. Well, some of the saves obviously didn't come in the 9th, but Sox relief was so poor that they were blowing saves in every inning, basically.
Yeah.
But when I just feel like when you have guys that know when they're going to pitch, they know when they're going in, they prepare to go in, they have that role, they're used to that role, they perform on that role. And when you start screwing around with that, and all of a sudden they're like, well, the 7th is more important than the 9th. And we can use Schreiber here instead, even though that he's nails in the 8th, we could actually use him in the 7th. And then we can use Bonds and we'll put him in the 8th instead, even though he's been better in the 6th lately. Somehow they have Ryan Brazier on this team still, which baffles me. I think they re-signed him, like extended him 2 more years or something. I heard the other day, which I didn't even read. It. But I think that now with that back end, with that kid Martin that they got from the Dodgers, right?
Oh yeah, Chris Martin. That was a sneaky good pickup by the Sox,
right? And I don't know much about him. I know that he played with the Braves, and I know that he was on the Cubs before the Dodgers got him. The strikeouts to walks is nuts. It was like 75-4 or something like that.
Well, and Tom, not only that, but his whip, when he went over to the Dodgers following that trade, his whip with LA was .69.
Yeah.
.69 whip. And the opponent batting average against was only 123. So the guy was flat out nuts. He was locked down. In fact, there was a point where we felt that he should have been our closer.
Right.
And, rather than some of the other bozos they were running out there every other day.
So if you figure that kid pitched like that, if he can, well, he's not a kid, he's like 37, but
yeah.
You figure that he's going to be the 8th inning guy. If you have Schreiber in the 7th, him in the 8th, and Jensen in the 9th, that's not bad.
Not bad.
Now,
Yeah.
if you stick to that, that's not bad. And then you focus on the lineup. And they're not, I like the back end from what everyone told me about Martin. Again, I don't know a lot about him. Schreiber was awesome last year. And the 9th inning was a mess. So Jensen, Martin, Schreiber, I like that. And then that pushes everyone else back. You can maybe use Houck like you did, like use Whitlock now that Whitlock's in the starting rotation. Maybe use him as a guy and can spot start, do whatever you need him to do. Go for 3-4 innings if you need him. And then you push Bonds down, less, low pressure situations for Bonds at this point. And then, everyone else is kind of, you just fill it out.
Yep.
Focus on the friggin' people you put on the field though, because there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of holes. I like Cassis as a young player, but I'm not confident he's gonna, perform to the level of what they think or what's projected from the fans that I've talked to about it. They're very high on him, and it's scary to me.
All right. I know I brought up Jensen. I did it. But can we go back to center fielders?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
We'll get the pitchers eventually here. We only got a couple more positions. Obviously the Judge deal or the Brandon Nimmo deal, 8 years with the Mets. And then the Cody Bellinger deal.
Yep.
I'm surprised there's all these other guys still sitting there too, though. I mean, you guys talk about needing people, and there's some really good names here. Garrett Hampson, he was pretty decent with the Colorado, right?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Garrett Hampson always gave the Dodgers fits.
I mean, you have Delano DeShields.
Yeah.
I still think of his dad when I hear that name.
Do not mention Delano DeShields. That trade forever lives in Dodger infamy, Tom. Don't ever mention Delano DeShields ever again. All right? I will fly to Boston personally. I will rip you a new asshole if you mention his name again. All right?
Yep.
I don't know if you want to go there right now.
Tom
Tom told us it was like 10 degrees.
No, I just, it's not a common name. So it's just what I thought of. That's all.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's good.
Actually,
so are any of these other center fielder names of interest? Kevin Kiermaier signed with Toronto.
Yeah, he's going to make a difference in the 20 games that he plays.
He's doing
I guess that happened within the last two time that I did this banner signing here. Obviously, I don't have it on there. So that was that was a new one to me. Sorry, guys, I missed that one.
Yeah, again, he'll make a difference in the 20 or so games that he plays.
I mean, because
Jackie Bradley Jr.
Jackie Bradley Jr. is gone from Toronto, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on the free
that's
agency
kind of
list.
just filling that glove void they're going to have without Jackie Bradley, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at this point, Kiermaier, he's older. He can't hit anymore, and he gets hurt a lot.
Yep.
Even Billy Hamilton is still sitting out there. I mean, I know he's probably still got a little bit of speed in him, right?
Yeah, he just can't hit consistently or get on base to use that speed.
He can fly, but does you no good if you can't get on first.
Years old already.
He was what?
He's 32 already.
Hamilton is?
Yeah.
Wow. Didn't know that either.
So I'm thinking that's why he might be still sitting on this free agency list.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. In his early 30s.
Someone will snag him up. They'll need a pinch runner in the late innings. They're like, oh, just go get Hamilton. You don't have to even hit. Just put him on first when someone walks.
They'll go back to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Relive the old glory years.
If there are any in Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
Ask Chris Sabo. He's probably the last one that would know about a glory, him and Larkin.
I remember Spuds.
Yep.
Spuds was a good ball player.
He was.
Sabo, wasn't he the first one to wear sports glasses on the
he rocked those goggles.
Yeah, he wore the sport. I think he was the first one to ever do it, right?
I don't know
One
if
of them, yeah.
I don't know if he was the first one, but he was probably the only one that did. And I think who's the kid? Was it Brendan Donnelly that
Brendan
pitched for
Donnelly
the
with the Angels.
That
Yeah.
came up and he wore the same exact type thing.
Yeah, and then when Eric Gagne pitched with the Dodgers, if you guys recall,
that's right.
Gagne wore the goggles, and at Dodger Stadium they had all these souvenir stands set up where they were selling Gagne goggles, and they were called Gagne goggles. So all these little 8-year-old kids would run around with Gagne goggles and stuff like that. It was the craziest thing, man.
That's such a Red Sox thing to do. So they went and got him.
Got to make money, guys. Got to make money.
That's why they signed Panda. They're like, oh, the merchandise.
Yeah, right.
That slob.
All right, then we get to the. I thought this was going to be a little bit more dramatic signing, but everyone kind of knew Aaron Judge was going to stay in New York. I did anyway, even though we talked about possibilities of him going elsewhere, but New York just seemed like the right fit for him.
Yeah, Aaron Judge clearly has no problem playing in that big spotlight that is New York, and the fans have taken to him. He's taken to the fan base. Something that I really liked coming out of Aaron the other day, Adam, was that he was quoted as saying that he cared about legacy. He cared about legacy, not only the legacy. And Tom, I know this is going to make you probably seethe at the mouth here, but or foam at the mouth. But he talked about the legacy that the Yankees organization has, but also the legacy that he's leaving in New York. And he's thinking about guys that came before him, like Mantle and Maris and Ruth and all the others. And so I thought, in this day and age of free agency, for a guy like that, a young kid like that, and Aaron Judge, who's at the zenith, the very peak of his career right now, not even in his prime, he's not even 27 yet, who's still getting into the prime of his career, for him to stay with the Yankees and worry about his legacy rather than the kind of zeros that are going to be attached at the end of his paycheck with another club. To me, that speaks volumes for just the type of person that he is. And, hey, as an Aaron Judge fan, I was glad to see him stay in New York because he clearly has something special going on there. And, props to him for staying.
Yeah, to be honest, Jason, honestly, I mean, him being a Yankee, to me, he's a likable person. He's a likable guy. He's not like a lot of other douchebags that have played in that organization, but he's like a
cheater.
Yeah, right. But no, I mean, he seems like a legit pro. I like guys like that, and it would be fitting that he plays his whole career for the Yankees. Again, they're like, oh, maybe we can get Judge. Yeah, okay. I mean, I would have loved it. Believe me.
Oh yeah.
That would have just been great to snag him away from the Yankees of all teams. But overall, as a player, I like him a lot. I think he seems like a pretty good dude. You don't hear a lot of the crap you hear a lot with other players. And the fact that he wants to stay on one team for relatively, which could be his whole career. I mean, he's a big guy, and some of those guys start to break down after 30. But who cares? You've got a guy like that people want to come see. So I hate that
they have Judge's Corner out there.
The whole
people
thing
show up in like the old Judge dress up hair and stuff.
That all plays into why they wanted him back. He's a larger than life figure physically, and what the fans think of him there. They love that kid. So I think it's fitting that he stays. I mean, it sucks that he's going to destroy the Sox for another 10 years or whatever Christ it was. But I'm used to people on the Yankees destroying the Red Sox a lot as a kid. This kid is special, and I like when guys decide to stay for the whole career on one team. It happened a lot when we were younger. Be it Ripken or Ryan Sandberg or whoever. You don't see it a lot anymore. So where, like you just said, he could have been dumped $100 million more if he was actually serious about leaving. And the Yankees went, can't let him go. And he's decided, you know what, I'll take it to stay. So I agree with you, Jason, in the fact that I think he seems like a really good dude and he's a fantastic player. and the Yankees made a really smart decision to keep him around.
Jay, just to let you know, Aaron Judge is 30.
He's
Is he
30
really?
already?
That's what it says on Wikipedia.
I didn't
Wow.
realize he was that. I
And
didn't realize he was that old either.
I think that it has. See how it says 31 years old next, right
Right.
there, going across the bottom. I
Right.
think that's how old he's going to be whenever the season starts next year.
Wow. I stand corrected. I could have swore he was at least in his mid to late 20s.
Because when you said that, I was like, wait a minute, is this 31 years old going across the screen here?
Okay. Wow.
So
I guess
I just wanted to make sure, and I was like, I just wanted to make sure because I was like, maybe I'm totally wrong, maybe whatever.
no, that sounds about right too, because he played at my alma mater, Fresno State, when I covered him there as a sports writer from 2007 to 2010. So yeah, that sounds about right. He probably is in his 30s then. Wow, that's crazy.
So they signed him for 9 years. That means he's going to be 39. It's going to be getting about that time, right? So he might stay a Yankee his whole career. Depending on how that contract is, if there's no trade clause or anything else, if he blocked it all.
You DH him until he can't play anymore.
Yep.
Just like Geno Carter Stanton.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not one of these people that go, oh my God, they're stuck with this money. It's not my money. I don't care what people spend. I don't. If they think that they want the guy and you think that the kid is talented enough to keep around that long and you have the money to eat a few years at the end of that deal, sign him. The Yankees have more money than anybody. So they can afford to eat the contracts on Stanton and Judge. That's a lot of money, the both of them, but listen, to have that problem in 6 years or so, 5 or 6 years, look what they're going to do in the 5 years leading up to that. I mean, it's hard to find a combination, 3-4 in the league that can hit with more power than them two. So you ride it out until it doesn't work anymore.
And then once the Giants didn't get Judge, they went out and signed Mitch Haniger, which I thought was a really good signing for them.
Oh yeah, sneaky good signing by the Giants.
But he will be 32 next year whenever he gets on the field. So a lot of these free agencies are mighty in the 30s. I don't know if like 30s become the new 20. You know how we always say that because we want to feel younger because we're a bunch of old asses.
Right.
But I mean, that's the way I feel like I'm looking at it whenever I look at all these free agents.
Only
Like
as
they're all
old
in
as you
their
feel,
30s.
Adam, That's all. I'll be 50 next summer. So I don't feel that bad.
I just turned 47 on December 3rd. Not saying a damn word, man.
I am the youngest.
Well,
of the
happy
bunch,
belated,
so.
Jason.
Thank you. Actually, Adam, it's interesting what you just mentioned there about some of these guys in their 30s signing these deals, because what we're also starting to see is that a lot of the younger star players with other teams are signed to these long-term AAV contracts. So the young star players that would normally be coveted by other clubs have either been scooped up within the last 5 or 6 years or have been scooped up this offseason. So that pattern's going to continue within the next couple of seasons, where a lot more of these guys are going to be getting a little bit more money than what they probably should in their age 30 years, just simply because all the young star guys have already been scooped up by everybody else.
Now, we get into this talk every day at work, and everyone's like, I can't believe we signed an 11-year deal, Here's my reasoning on why they're signing 11-year deals. They're signing 11-year deals because there's no way they're going to be able to stop these deals and put a salary cap in. And that's why these owners are doing it. They're not dumb. They do not want a salary cap. They'd rather play the luxury tax than knowing they only have this much money to spend.
Yep. And then not only that, Adam, but on a lot of these 10 and 11-year deals, a lot of the money in these salaries starts to defer after years 5 and 6. So the payments going out to the players start, when that money gets deferred, it decreases. Mookie Betts' money, for example, in Los Angeles, his money is going to start to defer following 2024. So he'll actually start, rather than making 25 or 30 million, it's going to go down to 20, then down to 15, then down to 13, so on and so forth. So as long as the money stays deferred after years 5 and 6, These owners aren't going to shy away from those long-term deals. Also, among
Guys, I'll be
myriad
back.
reasons.
I'll be back in 1 minute. Gotta let my daughter in.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
But
yeah,
we get into this conversation like every day at work, and I'm like, well, this is the way they're defeating the salary cap.
yeah,
Like putting
exactly.
these long-term deals in, and I go, well, what are they going to do? Break these contracts up and say, hey, you got to go to make $8 million to fit under the cap. These players aren't going to go for that crap.
No, and actually, you know what? I think the players' union is going to be more resistant to a salary cap than the owners, to be quite honest with you. Especially with the agents too. As long as these players continue to make this much money in these long-term deals, they're not going to want a salary cap either, because they're not going to want to go out and hit the open market and get capped off at 10 or 15 million per season at, say, 4 or 5 years, just hypothetically speaking. They're going to want more than that at more years. So if the salary cap would be just as detrimental to the players as it would be the owners. The owners wouldn't be able to go out and spend. The players wouldn't be able to go out and capitalize on the money that they and their agents want them to get.
Is Scott Boras the best agent?
Scott Boras is the best agent. Unfortunately, I think he's also bad for baseball, but he is the best agent. This guy knows how to work a room better than any agent in probably professional sports. The only other agent I would put him on par with is probably Lee Steinberg, the former football agent. But Scott Boras, Adam, this guy knows his way around a front office and knows his way around negotiation tables better than the GMs themselves.
You think GMs are scared to mess with him?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Look, when you see Scott Boras at baseball's winter meetings, front and center, in front of the cameras, talking to the media about the financial landscape in Major League Baseball, talking to them about AAV and long-term salaries, talking to them about a potential salary cap. That lets me know that as an agent, this guy has 28 of the 30 owners' balls in his hands. This guy has them in a vice grip. He knows how to work the room. He knows how to manipulate negotiations. He knows how to take advantage of negotiations. He has done it so many times. That's what makes him the best, but also that's what makes him bad for business as well, because as long as Boras is still has the final signature on that line on the contract, we're still going to continue to see salaries escalate and climb. And eventually at some point, we're going to see a $1 billion player. We are going to see a $1 billion player sign probably within the next 5 to 10 years. That's just my guess, but we're inching ever close to that $1 billion mark.
That's absolutely crazy.
It's asinine. Granted, that's just my theory. That's just
we haven't seen a 400 million yet, have we?
Yeah, Soto was asked. He was offered 400. He didn't take it. Right? He took the short money in San Diego.
He took the short money in San Diego.
He's going to get 4.
He probably will. Yeah, he probably will.
He's like 20. He's like 24.
Yep. I know, Adam, it's asinine to think that a player could eventually make $1 billion, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Well, we used to laugh to think that someone would make $100 million.
Yeah.
Remember, we thought it'd be Griffey Jr. back then. Be like, give him the 10 for 100.
Well, look, Tom, you and I are old enough to remember when Barry Bonds signed a free agent contract with the San Francisco Giants for $46.3 million.
Yeah.
That was 1993.
Yeah.
We all thought that was asinine when he got $46 million from the Giants. $46 million now is like chump change in my baseball piggy jar. You know, it is.
I remember when Mo Vaughn went to Anaheim, $86 million. We were like,
right?
What? $86 million. You know, and now it's like these guys are making half that in one season.
Yeah, right.
How much you think Babe Ruth be worth?
Oh my God.
Might he be your $1 billion player right now?
Well, Ohtani is the next one that people mention about Babe Ruth, right? So when is Ohtani up?
Ohtani's due to be a free agent next winter.
So that's going to be the big talk all
He's
summer.
going to get over 5.
Yep.
He's got to get over 5.
I think that's why the Dodgers haven't spent lavishly so far this offseason.
They want him then.
That A, they want to get Shohei Ohtani, but B, they want to sign Julio Urias long term, their pitcher. Do you think they want to watch San Diego swoop in and get Urias from underneath their teeth? I don't think so. Do you think they want to see Urias pitching in a Giants uniform? I don't think so. So Andy Friedman right now is saving all of his dollars to get Shohei and to sign Julio Urias long term, especially since Kershaw is on his last one-year deal and he'll be gone next season. They need another face in that rotation for star power. You got to sign Urias long term and then get Shohei. I think the Dodgers are going to make their move next winter.
You don't think they'll try and make a trade at the deadline or try and push for a trade?
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Have a little more wiggle room in their pocket, as they would say, because he's on the roster already.
I'm sure they will, but they're not, Adam. They're not going to make a trade if they can't be guaranteed before the trade happens that he will agree to a long-term deal.
Right.
You know.
Well, I just didn't know if you might think that's easier once he's already on the team.
Oh, a trade would be easier. Yeah. The chances of it happening.
Easier to talk to him. Is he a Scott Boras guy?
It's tough to find the ones that aren't.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Shohei is represented by I think he's represented by somebody else. I don't think he's a Boras client.
I was just wondering. I didn't know. I don't know either, Jay. You're just out in that area. That had been brought up on your TV way before mine.
A bundle of money. Oh my God.
Because he's a pitcher and a hitter.
Yep.
And they created the DH rule for him.
Yep.
Like, I mean, it's sad. Like guys like Trout, phenomenally talented player, has been sitting in that godforsaken team for how long now? Like, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. I'll play. He's making a lot of money, and maybe the money is it for Trout. He doesn't come across as that really, but he would be so better served in a market where people gave a shit, and where they're gonna win, and now Ohtani there too. So you have Ohtani and Trout, and you're still gonna perform and put a horrendous team out. Ugh, that's a shame.
Well, the Angels as an organization out here right now are in complete shambles. They're
It's
not only
total disarray, right?
Well, they're not only hemorrhaging money, but their soon-to-be former owner, Artie Moreno, tossed in all of his eggs in one basket to have this new big multi-use stadium complex built. And as it turns out here in Orange County, where the politics are even dirtier than the water, there was a major scandal involving that stadium deal. And Artie Moreno lost over $16 million potentially on that stadium deal being nixed because there was a lot of money that was being exchanged under the table. A lot of other specifics that are just too much to get into, but so it's going to be interesting to see how the Angels, as Moreno was pushing to have this team sold, when are they going to start dumping assets to either make the team a little bit tradable, a little bit more easy to sell? But I would think they would have to keep at least one of the two stars, Trout or Ohtani, to make them an attractive purchase for another owner anyway. So it's just hard to tell right now, but they're just in complete disarray.
I thought for sure Trout was going back to Philly.
Yeah, right. Philly just made a lot of sense.
He has season tickets for the Eagles. I mean,
right.
He's from New Jersey, so he's right there.
Yep.
Just like we talked about Trey Turner wanting to go home and play. I thought that was going to be the same for Trout.
Yep.
That was just me. I thought it was funny that there was no designated hitters signed yet. No J.D. Martinez, Brantley, Matt Carpenter, McCutchen, Trey Mancini, Nelson Cruz. We talked about he could be 41 or 45. Luke Voigt,
50.
Jake Lamb, Jed Lowry, Alex Dickerson, Justin Upton, even Edwin Rios. He was the youngest one of all those free agents at 29.
I mean, I was going to say, I would assume age is probably the biggest thing on that.
And health-wise for J.D. Martinez, right, Tom?
I would, like I said, bring me somebody. I would take anyone on that list at this point.
McCutchen's been linked to the Dodgers, but it's just more more rumor, nothing substantial.
Yeah, I think that yeah, I mean, I would welcome Trey Mancini. Why not?
Might be
I'd welcome JD Martinez back. Why not? You know, so I mean, I could get it if you had enough.
You think Trey Mancini's looking for more money because he is a world champion now?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. I mean, what would he command? I mean, how old is he?
31.
31. I mean, I would take him. I would take him in a minute. I don't know what he's asking.
And
I
he
don't-
could play
I don't know
first
if he's-
base too, right? He could play first, right?
Yeah, he could play first. Absolutely.
And I think he played left field in Camden Yards, right?
Yep. I'd take that. I'd take that. Logan just said he's almost done. I would take someone like Mancini. I would welcome Martinez back at this point. I thought that honestly, with the expansion of DH, I thought a lot of those guys might have been snagged up, with opportunities around baseball. But I think you're starting to see that a lot of teams have taken the approach of, you know what, we'll just use what we have and rotate a DH, which is fine if you have talent, offensive talent on the team to do that.
I didn't know Jed Lowry was 39.
Iron Jed Lowry, we had him here a long time ago.
That's what I mean. I didn't realize he was 39. Like, you think of Jed Lowry, you think of him in Oakland, right?
That seems like forever ago when he was here. He's still bouncing around. Was he on the A's still? Like, I remember
call our old guest back, right, Tom? Jeff Fry?
Jeff Fry, baby.
That was a fun conversation. That was a good conversation, huh, Tom?
Yeah, that was a good time. I was surprised he stayed on so long with us. He was fun to talk to.
Yeah, he's Jeff Fry, right, Jay? I mean, you're a baseball guy.
Yeah, utility player, good player with the Texas Rangers among other teams.
The Sox, Toronto, and Texas.
Yep, Sox, Toronto, Texas. Yeah, Fry was a good ball player.
He had good. He had a couple. He had a couple cool stories. He was telling us about when he got his call up in Texas. His first game, his debut. They put him at leadoff, playing second behind Nolan Ryan.
Wow.
And
so went 3 for 5.
I said, I'm like, intimidate much, dude? Nolan Ryan. And I'm like, was he scary? Because a lot of people are like, he's a scary dude. Like, he's just like kind of nuts. And he's like, yeah, he was pretty intimidating. But he didn't mind. Just don't cough the ball up. Field the balls that come to you, man, and that's it. And but he ended up having a good. He was only like 2 for 3 or something like that, and he had no errors.
3 for 5, wasn't he?
Was it something like that? 3 for 4, whatever. But then he was talking about playing behind Clemens. It's like this guy played behind Clemens and Nolan Ryan, and just like the people that he played with, and like he talked about a lot of that. He talked about his falling out with Major League Baseball. They don't have a high opinion of him and stuff because he had a lot to say. But he was interesting. He was fun to talk to. He talked to us for like, I don't know, Adam, what was it, like an hour?
2 hours.
Yeah, hour and 45 minutes maybe.
Wow. That's awesome.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was cool to like. I
keep trying to bring him back, but timing's just off.
Yeah,
I think you would love talking to him.
Yeah, he was cool. He was cool, and
I know I would.
He was that mid-90s Sox where, it wasn't a lot of good times necessarily, but he played hard, which people around here like.
Yep.
I mean, he's a little guy. Like he's like 5'9". I mean, he's like my size, dude. So it's not like he's this hulking guy. He played for what he got everything for even more of what he was. So it was cool to talk to a guy that played with some legendary players, man. I mean, Nolan Ryan and Clemens alone. Then he was getting into all these other teammates he's had, and I'm like, that's pretty sick.
Well, yeah, he was on the Rangers when they had Pudge Rodriguez and Juan Gonzalez.
He was naming off guys.
Yeah,
he was rifling off names, and I'm like, you played with all these guys, man. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But the Nolan Ryan thing, I'm like, on your debut, whew.
Right?
And you didn't cough one up? He's like, nope. I'm like, oh, man. Like that's,
and the funny thing was, Tom, we also had him on the day of the 30-year anniversary of the day he got called up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that was pretty
That's
wild.
awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
That
He
wasn't
was
planned, by the
fun.
way. That was not planned.
He told us, he's like, "Oh, it's my 30 years today." I'm like,
No, I brought that up, and I
Oh, yeah.
brought that up.
That was
That
awesome.
was not. I didn't plan. I didn't know that it was going to be his 30th anniversary of that day. But anyway, let's move on to some starting pitchers here real
You're
fast.
like, as I digress.
Carlos Rodon. Why is he not signed yet?
Because he's asking too much money for
much
what
money,
he's
man.
really worth.
Yep. As the
Jay,
wrestler.
we talked about Kershaw. You just mentioned him a couple minutes ago that this is going to be his final year.
Yep.
And he's going to be done.
No, I don't think he'll be done. I think it'll be his final season as a Dodger. There's really some, and look, Kershaw. Look, let's give the guy credit. All right, he's not going to go out there and toss no hitters anymore. He's not going to dominate hitters the way that he used to. But even though the guy had 2 different stints on the injured list last season, both stints longer than a month, he still went out there, won 12 games, posted an ERA under 3, and had a WHIP at just under 2. I mean, the guy is still effective to an extent when he gets out there on the mound. The Dodger organization knows how much he means to the fan base, and he's just as synonymous with Dodger baseball as Koufax, Robinson, Duke Snyder, Johnny Roseboro, Don Newcomb, and the like. He is just as popular as any of those other Dodgers throughout that franchise's great history. So for sentimental reasons, I'm glad they brought him back, but I think he'll still fly around after this season. I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes to Texas next season, because if he didn't sign with the Dodgers this year, he said he would have taken the deal and gone back to Arlington with the Rangers.
I thought he was going back to Texas myself.
I did too. I really did too. I thought that was where he was going to go, but I was glad to see that he and actually his wife, I guess, talked him into staying with LA. So Ellen Kershaw, you the girl. You go, girl.
And speaking of the Rangers, Jacob deGrom, 5-year deal. He'll be 40 when that thing's over. Was that a good signing, or is this going to be a wait and see? Is deGrom going to be able to stay healthy as well?
Wait and see. It's wait and see. And look, when deGrom is healthy, he can still be an effective pitcher. But that's the key, when he's healthy. I don't know if he's going to blaze 98, 99 mile an hour fastballs past anybody, especially in that Texas heat in July and August. But even though Globe Life is a retractable roof stadium, it'll keep its climate controlled, so it won't be quite as hot there. But it's a wait and see. Yeah, wait and see.
Tom, why is Nathan Eovaldi not signed?
I don't know. He's another one that I thought would be back. He denied the qualifying offer here for the $19 million, I think it is. I think maybe he thought on the market he'd get more than 19 a year. I think that it's proven that he's probably not. What did Bassett end up with? I don't think he hit 20.
3-year deal with Toronto. I don't have.
Was it just over 20, maybe 21, something like that? So maybe he thought that he would.
Don't have that number.
Maybe they thought he'd be banking on a higher value yearly. His concerns are the same. Concerns with him are the same as like Jason just said with deGrom. There's injury history there, and he's 30 years old, and you got a pitcher that throws that hard. He can hit 100, and once you start having those nagging back issues, and that's always his back. It's not his elbow. It's not his shoulder. It's always his back. And I think the Sox took a shot, threw him the qualifying offer, thought someone might snag him up. They'd capitalize on whatever compensation that is now.
Did you feel they lowballed him?
It's tough because it's tough to figure out what direction Bloom is going in. Eovaldi, to me, I like the guy. That the contract they ended up signing him for seemed overpriced at the time for what he was. He's got some balls on him, so I'll take a guy that has some sack and can not afraid to step up in the playoffs like he has, and they won with him. So there's always that here. You won with him. I would have liked to seen him resign. I mean, for a couple of years, but you put him out there, you gave him the qualifying, he shot it down. It looks more and more that the value is dropping, that the contract's going to get lower and lower. Maybe it'll get down to a point where the Sox decide it'd be easier to just bring him back. I'm not so sure that they will. I would like them to, but you can imagine if he starts thinking that he's going to be starts coming down to 15 or 16, he'd be smart to snag that offer, because if he doesn't, it's going to keep dropping even lower than that. And next thing you know, you could have taken the 19 and you denied it. Now you're making 13, 12, or 13. So,
which is still a shit ton of.
It's a ridiculous amount of money. It's foolish. I'm a fucking cable guy, man. Trust me, I get it.
Pizza delivery, shit the fuck.
Serious, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, I know that 19 would have been nice, but they're not gonna give me 14, but whatever. But no, I think that someone will snag him if the value keeps going down. I think he's too good to be floating out there like that. I think. Maybe I'm biased because I watched him pitch for the past 4 years.
Speaking of good, did anyone find it funny that Kate Upton said that we went to the New York team that doesn't boo their players? But they booed the living shit out of Max Scherzer.
Another country heard from.
Yeah, right.
What did you guys think of Verlander going to the Mets?
I think it's smart.
I guess they're going to have a good pitching lineup there with Scherzer and Verlander, at least for 1 year.
Well, they also got Jose Quintana, too.
Right. So, but Chase, what's it, 2 years, 80 million or something? 82 million?
2 years,
like that?
2 years, $80 million. Yep.
Who cares? Stephen Cohen doesn't care. I know that much. But for 2 years, you can afford it. Do it. Who gives a shit?
I started thinking, is Kate Upton like filming a movie up in New York for 2 years or what?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll be a real gem.
The Mets are just as desperate to win a championship as the Padres are. Steve Cohen's going to basically tell Major League Baseball, screw you and your luxury tax. All right? Exactly. That's what he's doing.
He's holding that in his pocket. It's fine.
Right, I just want to know because you think about it, the Mets, the Marlins haven't spent shit. They're going to enjoy the luxury tax, right?
Yep.
Because it only goes to your division that you're in, right? That's how that's broken up.
Yeah, it splits it up that way.
So the Marlins are going to receive luxury tax from every team out there that's spent all the money in that division. The Mets, the Braves, the
Phillies,
the Phillies. The Marlins might make more in luxury tax than they pay on their payroll.
Yep, wouldn't be shocked.
Now, does Major League Baseball make them use that money? Or is that money they can just say, hey, I used it to build a facility somewhere else? And
I don't think there's a way that they can make them use the money. How could you? Because you'd still, if that was the case, like your Pirates and the A's and these teams that have been living kind of at the bottom of the division every year,
yes, we
have been capitalizing on that money, correct?
Well, I mean, Bob Nutting said he used that revenue money to build a overseas facility for the Dominican Republic.
All right. As long as it's under the umbrella of said organization, I don't know.
Well, you guys actually bring up a good point, because the luxury tax, one of the reasons why it was created was to help some of these so-called small market, mid-market teams have more financial flexibility so that they could go out and spend a little bit more like some of the bigger market teams are. So you can have a more competitive market that doesn't have quite as much parity in the standings or during the competition. But it hasn't worked that way. And actually, you just brought up the A's, Adam. Right now, A's owner John Fisher is under a lot of scrutiny because everyone thinks that he is deliberately not spending money, even though he has money to spend, because he wants the A's to move to Las Vegas really, 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 really bad. And I guess John Fisher and the A's are valued at more than $1.8 billion from what I last heard, which a team that's valued at $1.8 billion, but is spending less than $5.75 every season in free agents, yeah, something's not copacetic there. It's not working. And so, well, I know Major League Baseball, a lot of the other owners have asked in recent years, okay, this is what the luxury tax was supposed to do. But to all the Bob Nuttings and the Bob Castellinis and the John Fishers out there, they're being asked, why aren't you guys spending this money? And then B, if we're giving it to you, what are you spending it on? Are you spending it on snow cones? Are you spending it on water slides? What's going on here? So you're bringing up some valid points. The luxury tax really isn't doing what MLB designed it for.
But I mean, I am correct though, right? The Marlins are going to receive a luxury tax from every other team in that division, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Just like
except for maybe the Braves. I don't know how much the Braves have spent this. I don't know how much the Braves are over, even if they're over. I don't even know.
Yeah, they're only going to get luxury tax money from the teams that are above that luxury tax threshold and that get penalized.
It used to
with
be
it the most.
200 million. I don't know what it is now.
It might be close to 3. That's just a guess.
Tom, are you looking it up right now?
Yeah, I can't find exactly what.
Because I feel that money should go into the team to make them competitive.
I agree. I do too.
That's what they do in the NFL. That's what the revenue sharing thing is in the NFL. So teams like the Cowboys, wouldn't make all this money, and then teams like the Arizona Cardinals and the Browns and the Bengals and all these other teams are like, well, we don't draw any fans and we don't have this, so we should be able to take money that the Cowboys and at the time, the Redskins and the whoever else, these high market teams, they're making a fortune. They should share. So they did the revenue sharing. But then those guys weren't putting that money back in the teams. It's the same thing. It's just a different wording and the way that the money's shelled out. I think the league in the NFL, it's an overall thing, not a divisional or a conference thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but it's similar. It's like, it shouldn't be so, the rich and poor like it is, right now with baseball. Dude, the A's are a laughing stock as a franchise. Chad Pinder is legit the highest paid guy on that team once they got rid of Andrews.
Yep.
And it's at
so
1.7 million or something like that.
The only two teams set to pay in the tier 4, which is the highest, are the Dodgers and Mets.
Have the Mets maxed that out? Or is there a max? Because they're going to spend more.
That's interesting.
29.9 million they're going to be paying in the luxury tax.
That's a joke.
That's interesting because the Dodgers payroll apparently has dropped all the way down to 170 million. So
I don't know when this was for 22. This is for 2022.
Okay.
This is last year. But I just wanted to give us numbers.
Got it.
Tier 1 is 230 to 250 million. Teams pay 20% overage. Tier 2 is 250 to 270, which is 32%. Tier 3 is 270 to 290, which is 62.5% for first-time payers, and 65% thereafter.
Yeah, so if you repeat 2 years in a row, they really try to pork you, right? But if you are someone like Stephen Cohen, who has basically, like Jason just said, tell all of Major League Baseball to F off, I'll spend what I want, right? So he's like, you want to find me?
Guys. Hold on.
My bad.
Hey, Logan, what's up, man?
Hi. Sorry. The show got late.
Oh, no entrance? What the fuck?
Oh, I'm sorry. What the fuck?
Dude, did it take long? Did it take you this long to purchase a Wilson Contreras jersey?
Listen, that one's still on back order. Okay, I don't know. I'm a little worried about that one. That's really why it took so long, because of the Cardinals Chronicles. Oh my gosh. Tom from Quincy,
Yes.
I'm very happy that you're on because apparently the Red Sox are interested in one of my boys. And so-
are they?
Yeah, apparently Red Sox are in on are wanting Paul DeYoung. I don't know why, but listen,
Second
put in a
baseman.
good word.
You know, Logan, real quick, the fact that you said I don't know why is exactly why they would be.
I told Josh Edwards I earlier. I was like, it makes so much sense for the Red Sox though. The fact that he's bad and that he's got little value. That's exactly why the Red Sox would want him. That's that. What's that? Artie Flume or I don't know whatever that guy's name is. The general manager. Hein Bloom, that little shithead. But it made me
That's
laugh.
the fucking understatement of the year.
Oh gosh. But I was like, oh
So
my
Logan,
gosh.
what do you think teams should have to do with their luxury tax earnings if they don't go into the penalty and receive the money?
I think they need to, I don't know, get their nuts smashed in like James Bond
Flaunt.
style and Casino
Flaunt.
Royale. Yeah. I don't know. Gosh. I got an itch right there. No. But I don't know. It's just like it's one of those weird things. It's like what kind of penalty can he really have? Maybe a loss of a draft pick?
If you don't spend the money and put it on your team?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying if you went over and like
'Cause
Steve
we were
Cohen.
talking about like the Marlins are nowhere near it and they're going to receive tax money from every team in the division.
I don't. They honestly
Or
relegation.
does that still get split up? How does that work too? Because all them teams are going to be over except for the Marlins. So does every team get a profit from it? Like, will the Phillies pay the Mets and the Mets play the Phillies?
It probably
how
goes
does
into
that
the
work?
league, and then the
Because-
league gives them a check.
Because they're both over the threshold. Do they still pay each other because it stays in division, or how does that work?
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense though. Why would one rich team want to pay another rich team?
Right. That's why they give it
Well,
to
it's
the
supposed
league,
to
and
go
then
to
the
the
league
poor
gives them a
teams,
check for
like-
the team. Like a pool.
But I mean that's a good question, right?
No, yeah, it is. Very good question.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to.
It's not. I'm not that into baseball. What am I, a nerd?
Where's that? What's his face? What's his it? TJ Quinn? Is that the guy that they talk to about finance and sports all the time? On used to be on ESPN, I think it was.
Yeah, he's that little weasel investigative reporter for ESPN.
Skip
A
Bayless?
weaselly reporter for ESPN. Get the fuck out.
I know, right? Who would have thought?
Oh gosh.
That seems appropriate.
Listen, without ESPN
Seems
being a
apropos.
complete and utter clusterfuck, there would be no job for us to do. So thank you, shitty ESPN people, for being so sucky.
Yeah, Logan, we were curious to see what you thought about the big Wilson Contreras signing. We were saving that for you, obviously.
My thoughts are so at the beginning of the offseason, I made a thing that I wanted the Cardinals to do, what I thought they should have done. And I thought they should have signed Wilson Contreras as a DH/backup catcher. And their main goal should have been to trade for Sean Murphy. And that obviously didn't happen. But I get worried about Wilson Contreras because he didn't play. I think he played 70 games at the catching position and like 80 games DHing. I can't remember the exact numbers, but he played a lot of DH and not as much catching. And he had a great offensive year. And so he had the best offensive year he's had in his entire career. So what worries me is him playing catcher as he gets older. Does that mean he's going to he's gonna just have a big regression at offensively. Because listen, I don't give a shit what people say. I need offense from my catcher. It's still a very important part of that stupid thing. I don't care about defense. I don't care that Yadier Molina was the greatest defensive catcher. The Cardinals didn't make it past the wild card series because Yadier Molina and a couple other guys were shitty offensively. So I'm worried about Wilson Contreras.
Luke Maley signed a 1-year deal with Cincinnati as well.
He went back to Cincinnati.
He did. He signed a 1-year deal with them.
That's weird.
I was surprised as well. That was all the catchers I saw.
These teams are signing people. I'm like up here, just waiting around, just waiting and waiting.
Now, there was 1 million relief pitchers signed. I don't know if we want to talk about them all or not. Or real quick, Logan, any other big signings that you guys had? Anyone you guys targeting over there? Since you did just leave the Chronicles, maybe you guys were talking about free agency a little bit.
Carlos Rodon seems like a possibility still. And Dansby Swanson.
There's the Swanson talk again.
I
don't have to
on
worry
a
about
team
that because
that
I
he
know the
wasn't
Pirates
gonna
are
go to.
not in on Swanson.
Yeah, right. I want
He's probably going to make more than the whole payroll.
I want Dansby Swanson, but I just need him. I need some offense somewhere, but we also need a pitcher. And I kind of think that Rodon is not really the answer because I don't think he's an ace really. I know that's weird, but he seems to me like a two guy. I don't think he's the guy that you want in a 1-game. Not that we have a 1-game playoff anymore. But like he's not somebody that you need like on a whenever like clutch, I think. And I said on Cardinals Chronicles, I said I think Shane Bieber is very obtainable. And I said Tyler O'Neill and Tommy Edman and maybe Gorman. And that would be a contingent on if the Cardinals went and got Dansby Swanson. If they could get Shane Bieber, because Tyler O'Neill, really good offensively outfielder. Guardians need that. They need a shortstop.
St. Louis Shane Bieber jersey. I'm not going to be happy.
You should just come to the Cardinals. Actually, I'm not even a Cardinals fan anymore. I'm a Phillies fan. So, go Phillies.
Where's Ryan when we fucking need him, huh?
I've already told him.
Besides, I feel bad for his dog. Hopefully his dog heals quickly.
He's picking the glass out of his dog's ass.
That's never good.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, like, he stepped on it or something, got glass in his foot, got stitches. Anything else? I don't know. These Pirates signed Vince Velasquez.
Vinny
Who else did we
Velasquez.
sign?
Hold on, let me
G-Man
look.
Choi. G-Man Choi.
Let me look and see who the Sox signed. Oh, they haven't signed anybody.
So
Fucking G.
can I add? So Tom, like, what was Boston's reaction to the Japanese player signing with the Red Sox?
It's about as
Tom doesn't
exciting as,
even know his name.
as exciting as talking to me right now. You guys talking to me is holding about as much excitement as what the Sox fans thought of the Japanese kid that I don't know his name and I'll never remember.
Why haven't they re-signed?
Shagatoshi Ishigawa.
Why haven't they re-signed JD Martinez?
Because that would seem to make sense. We're not in the making sense game anymore.
I guess not. I mean,
We're in the rolling out a whole lot of suck game.
it made me laugh because
I'm
like, at
prepping
the
myself. I'm almost. I'm kind of reserved to the fact that Devers is going to be gone too, and that's just gross to me to think that. I don't know if you guys know, but Bloom did an interview the other day with Rob Bradford, and he said that I mean, he talks out of his ass all the time. So, but he said he had the balls to say this actually, which is kind of funny in a way. Like the balls is amazing, but he said, "Well, we have the mindset to build around our homegrown talent." So I'm not sure exactly if he knows the meaning of homegrown talent. Because you traded Betts, you traded Benintendi, you let Bogarts walk, and Vasquez got traded last year. So if you are talking about building around homegrown talent, that must be just from now.
Yeah, right.
Because that you've done the fucking polar opposite of that since you got here, you fucking dick. So yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. JD makes sense to bring him back, but that's why they won't, because it makes sense, and everything this guy does doesn't make sense. But other than that, he's bang up job you doing there. Suck.
Oh gosh, I love it. I love to see someone more angry at their team than me. It's really refreshing, honestly.
I'm more than happy to give you that.
Jason, how's your World Series contender coming up? It's like the panel of losers here. Gosh.
Well, gee, where do I start? Go ahead, pour salt on the wound, asshole. All right. No, I'm kidding. You're not an asshole. I actually
you guys got Shelby Miller.
Hey, you know what? That's the move that scared the shit out of everybody else. When the Giants saw we got Shelby Miller, that compelled them to get Carlos Correa. Actually, Logan, I was just telling Adam and Tom a few minutes before you checked in that I think the Dodgers are taking a hall pass so they can make a swing at Shohei next winter, and so they can sign Julio Urias long term, because Urias' contract is due to end next winter. And I can tell you right now, they have relied on him to bring in a lot of that Mexican market back into LA the way that Fernando Valenzuela did. Mm-hmm. And seeing how Urias has grown into the all-star that he is, they're not going to want San Diego to come up and swoop him out of their lap. They're not going to want to see him go up north and play in the Bay. They're trying to save all this money under the luxury tax so they can sign him long-term, and then I think make a big swing at Shohei next winter.
Well, I also say I saw that report, and then I also saw that they kind of got screwed because they didn't pay Trevor Bauer last year, and then I guess they're having to pay him all $85 million that he's owed this year.
Yeah, the Bauer contract has him handcuffed a lot, and actually, Major League Baseball has done them a disservice in that way because with MLB not fully deciding how they want to handle Bauer's situation, whether they want to suspend him long term or not. If they were to suspend him long term, that could, in essence, enable LA to void his contract and get it off the books. But they can't because his contract is still on the books, and so they're still obligated to pay him for next season in 2024 as well. So, yeah, that kind of hampered them a little bit, but. We'll see what happens on that.
Yeah, that's kind of it's so weird not to see the Dodgers so in play, and then they kind of used Correa as an excuse. Like, listen, we're not really after Correa because
this is what I think of that excuse by Andrew Friedman.
I was like, listen, I'm not even from LA, and I'm not even really a Dodgers fan, and I know that you're so full of shit. That's just you saying that you can't afford them at the moment. And it's just so weird.
Yeah, I can tell you that.
Is that where you like? Is that where you like come on and you just tell people that, and you have a picture of Shohei Ohtani in your background and say, "We really didn't want him." and then have Shohei Ohtani in the background right there.
Oh, that's funny.
Just thoughts.
It's there's a poster of Shohei Ohtani in a Dodgers like fan made thing in center field, and they're like, "Next year, baby."
My fellow Dodger fan brethren, we never lose
It's
hope.
probably coming.
Oh gosh, I wonder if he's going to be money driven because he signed with the Angels because they wrote him a letter about why they wanted him. I'm like I'm sure the Dodgers have they have more to offer than just money. Like they'd be like, hey, listen, we really like you, like the culture here in LA and the winning tradition and all that stuff. But I'm like, is there another team that would like I doubt he goes to the Yankees. Even if they're
Don't
come over here,
don't
you
doubt it,
motherfucker.
Logan.
Don't doubt it. Yeah, don't doubt it.
Really?
Actually, Logan, also, I would not downplay the Seattle Mariners either.
Yes, I was gonna say the same thing.
Listen,
Yep,
I had a wet
Seattle.
dream that
Yep.
Aaron Judge was going to be a Seattle Mariner this year, and I thought, oh man, him and Julio Rodriguez playing together. So Shohei Ohtani being a Mariner next year, that would be awesome.
Well, and here's the thing: Ichiro is working with the Mariners organization in a front office capacity. So he's he's one of those
Logan,
assistant. Yeah, he's one of those assistant to the
yourself.
assistant to the vice president positions or something like that.
He
So-
loves Ichiro too.
Yep.
He respects.
So- Yeah, and that's why the Dodgers right now are playing a very if they really are skipping out on this winter to try and put all their eggs in one basket to get Shohei next winter, they're playing a dangerous game of Russian roulette right now because Andrew Friedman is betting that
because if
Shohei
it
is going
falls
to.
out on you,
Yep, Tom knows where I'm
You just
going with
wasted
that.
a year
falls
for
out
nothing,
on you,
really.
then what do? Oh my God!
I mean,
Yeah.
for all we know,
Do
too,
I
maybe
ever.
Ohtani wants out of the limelight of LA.
That's right. He very well could. Yeah. And I mean, going up to Seattle, the limelight wouldn't be up there. He would be able to, he would fit in perfectly with what the Mariners are trying to do up there. And the Mariners are going to be a really, really sneaky good team next season again, like they were this year. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
but they're now they're on the radar. Now they're going to be on the radar, though.
yeah, definitely.
So teams
I was
are actually going
surprised
to watch a little more film, a little more tape, pay more attention to hot zones, cold zones.
Tape.
So I mean, that's what happens. Like you sneak in, all of a sudden you're like, wait, this team made playoffs. We need to break them down a little more than a half a day here, or whatever. Film wise, whatever.
I want Shohei to be a Mariner now. I mean, I want him to be a Cardinal first and foremost, but the Cardinals are going to be
You just
sticking their
changed
thumb
you
up
just
their
changed your
asshole.
teams. Like, what team are you rooting for, buddy?
I don't know.
Shohei would look better in blue.
Oh,
Yeah,
Black
much
and
better.
gold, baby.
Pantone
oh my gosh!
294.
If he goes to the Pirates, just to get
Pantone
his
294.
Listen,
Oh my gosh.
Ohtani would make more. He would quadruple the payroll in one guy.
because he's a $50 million a year player, right? Has to be.
We were just talking about this, Logan.
Yeah.
Within the next 10 years, do you think we're going to see a $1 billion player?
10 years now.
Ooh, Jay, he said no.
I think
I'd say 5 years. If you're gonna give, if Otani's gonna sign for 50 a year, they're gonna give him 10. So you 500 mil, right? So in the next 5 years, that money, I mean, the way that it's jumped just in the past couple of years, Story signed for 6/140, and people are like, that's outrageous. He must be kicking himself in the dick though, because he's like, oh my God, I'm a month younger than Bogarts, and he signed for 280 a year later. So it's not a crazy thought to think that 500 million next year doesn't turn into the 700 to 750 in the 2 years after that. And then someone goes, you know what? There's some fucking stud that goes, give the kid $1 billion, which makes me want to puke. But I don't find it that outrageous, as sick as that sounds.
Yeah.
Probably Bezos will probably own 3 teams by then or something anyway, so you pay whoever you fucking want to or something. No.
I guess it really is contingent on Soto. Like I feel like it's more of Soto just because he's gonna get at least $500 million contract because he's so young. Because he's gonna be 25, I believe, whenever his contract is up, and I mean he's definitely. I think he's worth more than Judge. I think he's on the same path as Trout. Maybe not there yet, but I think in 2 years with the Padres, with that good of a team, he will be. Ohtani, I don't think he's going to get that like big long-term contract. How old is Ohtani? 32, 30?
Early 30s, yeah.
Foreign players are.
So I think he's going to get like I think he might get 50, but I thought Judge was going to get 50 million. I thought he was going to get the bag. I thought he was going to, and then he only accepted a $40 million offer. And
Only.
well, yeah, but I think we all can agree that
Yes.
he left a lot on the table. Like if I was him, I would have told the Yankees, listen, don't even talk to me because you guys were fighting with me at the beginning of the season over $3 million in my arbitration when you should have just given me a contract extension and put this whole thing to bed. Anyways, I would have totally taken it to the cleaners. But I don't know. I think at $1 billion contract, I think it's content. You would have to have a super young player who's just as talented as a Juan Soto type player, where you're going to say, maybe it's Adley Rutschman, where they say, listen, we want to pay you 17 for a 17-year contract, $1 billion. I don't even know how much that is right there. A year.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But you're also you're not just paying for like now's market. You're paying for like 10 years down the line and 20 years down the line. So it's a lot of like Adley Rutschman or Xander Bogaerts. Sorry, don't mean to. Like right now, it looks like a lot of money that he's getting paid, but in 11 years, you're going to be like, oh, $27 million. That's chump change. And then
If I ever say $27 million is chump change, that means I did something really right.
Yeah.
Jay, I know I just read your message. Thank you for popping by. How people get you, and we'll get back on. We're gonna get back in line, do football. I know I missed my recap this week, but a lot of shit happened with the production line. So we went free agency tonight, so that's where we're rolling.
Yep.
And next week we'll get back to football. I know your boys play Monday night this week, right?
Yeah, we're playing the Rams.
Oh, okay.
I just took 2 gummies, so I have about 30 minutes left before I go.
So yeah, sorry guys, I have to bail. But Tom, it's been fun. Adam, it's been fun.
Are you scared of Baker?
What? What? Don't make me fly out there to Quincy and rip you a new asshole, Tom. All right.
Are you scared of Baker for Monday night?
Maybe. Anyway,
Jordan
guys,
Love.
it's been fun as always. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Have a good night. God bless.
All right, Jay. Have a good one, man.
All right, you too, guys.
Bye, Jason.
Bye.
He's like, where is this goddamn off button?
You're still there.
Can we talk shit about Jason?
I'm
I'm sorry,
going.
Jason. Okay.
I'm going.
It's the big red button.
He's like, I'm still here.
I'm still here. This is being
Bye,
recorded,
Jason.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, we're live, buddy.
Right.
We're live on many platforms,
Motherfucker.
Bye, Jason.
Yeah, all you
You
gotta
sound
hit
like me.
the leave studio button at the bottom of the thing.
Just chunk the phone at this point.
Oh man. Hey, all right. That was Jason. Good
That was
comments.
fun.
There he
Always good
goes.
commentary.
Jeez, this should-
Good comic relief right there. Oh man.
Oh man. So Tom, you want anybody in your outfield to be signed? You don't really give a shit who, as long as it's a name, right?
I want someone that can fucking play. I don't feel that's a lot to ask as a fan.
You ask too much.
You know, but I mean, I'm Logan. I'm in a bad spot, my friend, as far as this team. So I need them to make legitimate signings, and they're just not. You know, again, threw the Japanese kid at me. I don't know anything about Jansen. I liked, and this kid Martin that they got from the Dodgers seems like he's a good guy. So I'll take the eighth stuff. But the fans up here are willing to just not criticize them when they don't do the right thing, and I hate that. It's like all right, well, they're gonna go after Bogarts, and then they don't. But but they're still getting Scar. Right, Curry's gone, so they're gonna go after this guy. Then but they can still get Rodon. They can still. It's like every time someone goes off the board, they just pick the next guy. And I'm trying to tell people, I'm like, you guys, they're not gonna go after anybody. How do you not fucking get it yet? I'm not sure how you don't get it. How do you watch what the rest of the league is doing, and then watch what they've done and think that they're going to be in on? Now we're down to Dansby Swanson, and then once Dansby Swanson goes off the board, they're going to be like, well, Jed Lowry's still out there. That's where we're gonna. You know what I mean? It's like just
It would be
reserve
Elvis
yourself
Andorus.
to the fact that
It would be Elvis Honduras, Jose Iglesias, Alcides Escobar.
Dude, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they do sign Iglesias to play second, and they'll platoon him with a Royal.
Come back.
Isn't Andrelton
You know what I mean? He's
Simmons
not gonna-
also a second baseman? But he's like 33.
He's not going to cost you fucking anything, and then you have to find someone to play right. You have to.
You could sign Diddy.
The people were talking about, go after Michael Conforto. When's the last time Michael Conforto played? He didn't play last year. Huh?
I think
Who got
it's
the
21. I think he played 60 games. If I remember
He played
correctly.
last year. No, he didn't play last year at all, though. No one signed him, right?
Not in 20. No, he didn't play in 22 because he was injured.
But he wasn't on a team, though. Was he?
He was with the Mets in 21, I think. Conforto.
And that's it. Oh, and free agent last year. And no one picked him up.
Oh,
but
he
they
played,
want him now. Like, well, he can play every day. Like, I mean, it's so frustrating. It's like you don't have to go after guys that haven't played baseball in over a year.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Like, what kind of franchise are you now? What is going on? It feels willing to accept what the Red Sox are doing right now, and be like, "Oh, well, yeah, well, we have Marcelo Maya. The kid's like 19. He might. Oh, you have to also. He might suck." You know, I have a hard time. I've always had coming up. How many fucking times have we seen it happen where they simply don't play well? Does anyone remember Brian Hale of the Yankees? Are you guys too?
Who?
or no? So Brian Taylor was number 1 draft pick, $1 million signing bonus, sucked. This is where the Red Sox are at.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
It's kind of the same way with the Cardinals, and I think this offseason was really weird though, because there were a lot of teams that wanted to fill needs. There were the Giants, the Cardinals, the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Guardians, even the Rangers, and I think and this is what my thought was on the Cardinals at the winter meetings. Like they said, listen, first thing we want to do is get a catcher. That's what we want to do. And then Trey Turner on day 2 of the winter meetings signed with the Phillies. And that started a whole frenzy with every team that was looking for a shortstop, because the top shortstop just went off the market. So now you're down to 3 shortstops: Bogarts, Correa, and Swanson. So even the Cardinals, they said the Cardinals switched drastically to getting a shortstop. And then so they started talking to Swanson. So I think it was just a whole everybody.
Did the Cardinals, Logan? Did the Cardinals even attempt to talk to Correa?
No, not it.
Or
No.
Bogarts?
No.
Or were they looking like Swanson because he seemed to be the cheaper of the 4?
He was the cheaper of the 4, from what I understand, and he was I think they were never going to go after Correa because Correa has a history, the whole cheating thing, and that doesn't bode well with the Cardinals' way. And he's got a kind of a, not a toxic attitude. I don't want to say that. I think it's an ego attitude, and the Cardinals aren't really big fans of that, which I am. I think every team needs a player who's I'm going to fuck you up and all that stuff. And I think Xander Bogaerts, they thought Xander was just going to be too expensive and ask for too many years. And so I think they thought Dansby would be the most reasonable. Also, everybody would be going after Correa and Bogarts, while not many teams would be going after Swanson. But all that to say is I think the Cardinals thought they had this entire offseason to go fill in the starting pitching, the catching position, and their shortstop needs. And in 2 weeks, over half the market is gone already. That, I've never seen that happen at a winter meetings or in the first 3 weeks of the off season. I've never seen that happen. Just everything happened so quick. And so I think that kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything. So that's my thing. Let me ask you, Tom, what are the Red Sox biggest needs? I know they need an infielder. Who else do they need?
They need right field. They need starting pitching, and they need a second baseman.
So I had an idea
to fill those holes.
I had an idea. I know you just said you needed starting pitching, but I thought, what if the Cardinals, in the need to get a starting pitcher, what if they traded Paul DeJong, who has, I believe, 2 years this year and then a club option for next year? What if they traded him and then the Cardinals got back Chris Sale, and the Red Sox would have to pay a little bit of that contract because he's getting paid $75 million for the next 3 years? Are you wanting to get rid of Sale? Because that's what I was thinking. The Cardinals are going to do something stupid like that. Just to.
I'm not sure how they handle Sale. The thing up here, and again, and I'll go back to the odd, weird optimism that they've had about this team going into the season so far. They're actually relying on Sale.
Oh, really?
And I'm not sure how you can do that. I love the guy. I loved when they got him. You know, I thought, and they won with him and all that. I love his mentality and everything. But how can you possibly rely on him? And why would any team take him on knowing, like, dude, he fell off his bike and was out for the year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's a frail, skinny dude. I mean, he's a fucking nut, which, I mean, again, he's a crazy person, which I really appreciate, to be honest. But he has these fluky, weird injuries, like that ball off, and he's like, his fingers are bent backwards and he's walking off. I'm like, I don't know if it's just he's cursed, if there's a fucking piano like floating above his head when he's walking around, a black cloud, something. And I don't know why another organization would make a move to bring him on, especially if the money that is attached to him, pay half. You'd have to wonder why they would want to do that either. You'd probably just hang on to him and hope that you get something. Because if he can revisit, and you're never going to see Sale from 4 years ago. That part of his career is done. But if he can find a way to maybe, you know, kind of do what like Pedro did when he got older and kind of just find another way to pitch where you don't have to go balls out all the time, then maybe you can get something out of him. I don't think it's a
Greg Maddux changed his whole.
It's not going to last a whole season. I don't. Yeah, you have to change your whole perspective, everything, your whole approach. But if you can do that, and you can get something out of him, then fine. But I don't see where another organization would want to take him on. There's just too many questions about his availability. I mean, I think his mind and his heart and his balls are there, but man, he's just that stature of his. I mean, he is a rail, and I think that it's showing that getting to this age that it's just you got to put something on you, man. You got to have something. He's got that weird motion in his elbow and his everything. It's a funky delivery and all that. I'd be surprised if someone made a move. I think if someone thought they were close and they maybe just needed a guy that they had, maybe Sale can give us something and we can kind of push them over the edge, then so be it. I don't think the Sox are anywhere close to being over any kind of edge except the one that drops right off the fucking cliff. So if someone made an offer, you think about it, I'm just not sure there's an organization that would want to take on the risks that come along with the Sale that they think they may be getting, which is not the Sale they would be getting. I'd rather them sign Eovaldi, re-sign Eovaldi. Some stability there, as opposed to, you know, they're dependent on Brian Bayo and Whitlock and all these guys. It's like, I feel moving Whitlock out of the pen weakens the bullpen, and then he doesn't pitch as well in the starting rotation. So I think that you've kind of fucked yourself there. So you're relying on Brian Bayo. Did you guys see Brian Bayo pitch last year?
I feel like I saw a highlight. He did something stupid, right? Did he puke?
It's just kind of pedestrian. He's a very young kid, but they were like, "Oh, he's the next Pedro Martinez and shit." It's like, if I hate nothing more in baseball. I hate nothing more in sports than comparisons.
Oh yeah.
Stop it. Stop with that. Stop. What's his comp? Pedro fucking Martinez now? I mean, don't do that. Don't do that to the kid. You know, let him come up. Let him learn it. If he can pitch, great. If he can't, he'll be no different than a million other fucking kids that were highly hyped and didn't pan out. I hope to God that kid pitches great, but don't put Pedro Martinez on the kid. I mean, who the hell is going to live up to that?
Pedro Martinez.
I kind of see because I think the Cardinals.
Yeah, guys, I got to fly.
Tom, I was just getting ready to say, you just texted me. I just saw it. It said you got to go. I was letting Logan ask that question. I figured you'd want to answer it real
I
quick.
gotta fly.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no
I'm
problem.
I'm gonna set that up for you on Saturday at 2
I
o'clock.
gotta meet it. Yeah, Saturday at 2 right now. If you want to set that up, and then I'll send them, and then anyone that wants to hop on, if anyone's around, definitely.
Logan, if you want to jump on with Tom on Saturday at 2 o'clock, you're more than welcome. Our time, Eastern time.
We talking about football? Because I'm
No.
such an expert.
No, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot of pissed off Red Sox talk. I don't know if you're in for that, but if you want to
Oh,
hear
I
me,
love that.
you want to hear me rip this team to shreds, and then maybe you won't.
I can't get angry at the Red Sox. Then I'll ask my question on Saturday because I think there's going to be a Cardinals Red Sox trade. And the more I look at it,
All right. Well, maybe
We
this
can
is
do
a good
that.
way to end the show.
Matt Barnes is going to the Cardinals.
We're leaving this in the
fucking-
Saturday at 2 o'clock
You're welcome.
on the corner booth. Logan, how people get you?
I don't know where you can find me, but you can find me on the 7th inning stretch on the Variety Sports Network, or VSN, as we like to
you
call
go.
it. We're having a Christmas party on
Oh.
Wednesday. Big announcements. There will be cake that I will not see or
Are you not
anything.
going to St. Louis for this?
No.
What the fuck?
You're not,
Why
you're
go
not
to St.
flying
Louis?
us in or anything.
No. Listen, I can't afford you. You guys are expensive hoes. So, but
You'd be surprised.
yeah, right. Well, Tom, we can talk later about what $5 can get me.
30-pack of Bud Light gets things done, man.
Wow. Dang. Okay then. I thought you were going to be a Sam Adams guy, but okay, Bud Light.
Oh no. I'm gonna stick to the Bud Light.
Tom's a
man.
Bud Light guy, man. Tom is a Bud Light guy. All right, Tom.
The smart
We'll
ones
see you
aren't.
Tuesday. We'll see you Saturday at 2 o'clock. Logan will be joining you with some angry Sox talk. And all right, well, hey, I'm sports talking it, or you can find me on
It works.
sports and talking sports with. Holy, well, anyway, we're gonna end it on that note, kids. Everybody, have a good night. Thank you for stopping by, and we are out.
All right, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out.